Let's see, what do we got? What are we up to? We're getting close to Kuf, right? I gave my old spiel yesterday about Kuf. Wah. Tzariches is a big old daf. Wait, is that what we're doing? No. When are we doing that? What are we doing today? Okay. Wah. Alright. Yeah, BavaKama is the big leagues, right? Wah. BavaKama. Oh, I'm going to roll up my sleeves. 1 second. Alright, I got my sleeves rolled up. I got my coffee over here. Third coffee of the day. 7 in the morning. Let's go. Alright. Oh, gewaldig. Cheve, are you pumped for Daf Tzadi Zayin? Did I do my whole spiel yet? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're studying Daf Tzadi Zayin, Daf 97 of Masechta BavaKama, friends. Yo, friends. We're going to start on Daf Tzadi Vav Amud Beis. Have you pumped for Daf Tzadi Zayin? Get pumped. I mean, not because there's anything pumping about it, but just get pumped. Cheve, you know what? Scratch that. You do you. Alright, we're going to start on Daf Tzadi Vav Amud Beis, about 10-15 lines from the bottom at the 2 dots. You ready? Good. Let's go weiter. Reb Meir Omer says, Reb Meir ba'avodim omer lo arishelcha lefanecha. Ha. So, para. We had a Mishnah. The Mishnah had said that, let's just read the Mishnah. It's like literally like 15 lines higher up. Gazel behema vizkina avodim vizkinu. A fellow steals a behema and it becomes old and weaker. It's a shinoi, it goes through a change. Avodim vizkinu, or avodim and they oichit go through a change. They oichit become older and weaker. Misham kshas agzela, so you pay kshas agzela. Reb Meir omer ba'avodim omer lo arishelcha lefanecha. And it says Reb Meir that by avodim you don't pay the value at the time of the theft. Rather you say take him back. Take a sip of coffee while you sort of ponder that. Now, so back in the Gemara. So Reb Meir omer ba'avodim omer lo arishelcha lefanecha ha. That Reb Meir says when it comes to avodim, so Pashit says arishelcha lefanecha, take it back. Cheve, do you prefer when I record at this hour, like kind of in the morning, or like in the afternoon, evening? Can you tell the difference? I feel like this is a better time. I feel like I'm more into it. You know, like the afternoon, I'm like in the middle of my work day, or at night, I'm like I'm experiencing short-term memory loss. I feel like this is a good time. Got my coffee. Okay. Amar Rav Chanina bar Rav Dimi Amar Rav. Okay. Where am I? Halacha Rav Meir, that the halacha is like Rav Meir. So Be'etzim Rav is saying, it sounds like, that the halacha is like Rav Meir. So Frekti Gemara, I don't understand. Rav Shavik Rabban Vavid Rav Meir, why in the world would Rav ignore the majority opinion, ignore the opinion of the rabbis, and instead say the halacha is like Reb Meir? Like that's not how things work. Generally, we follow the majority opinion. Ami mishum de braise ipcha tanya. This is great stuff. Well, because we have a braise that says fakert. That, I assume what it means. 1 second. Yeah, bediuk. That we have a brayse that Taka says punkt fakert, that it's the rabbis who are saying so be'etzim, when Rav is saying that the halacha is like Reb Meir in our Mishnah, he's be'etzim saying that the halacha is like the chachamim in the brayse. He's be'etzim passing like the version in the brayse. But frekti gemara, there's an important yesod. V'Rav shavik masnisin ve'ovid ki brayse. Why would Rav ignore a Mishnah or put aside a Mishnah in favor of a brayse? There's an important yesod, right? Even though, yes, Mishnayos and brayses, even Toseftas, or I should say Mishnayos and Toseftas, even brayses, right? Mishnayos, Toseftas, brayses, they're all the opinion of the Tanoim, and all Tanoim, all Tanoim are equally sort of Tanoimi. but the level of authority that we ascribe to a Mishnah is higher than that of a Tosefta and a Brisa, and that of a Tosefta is more so than a Brisa. Brisas are just kind of like things that did like Tanaitic collections or statements or Brisas thingies that didn't really make it into any of the other canons, right? Like obviously the Mishnayos is edited by Rebbe, and that's like the highest level of authoritative Tanaitic text, right? It's edited by Rebbe. Now there's Toseftas like Reb Chia and Reb Oshia have right. They organized collections of Brises into the Tosefta, and that was kind of edited by them, which is kind of like a next level of authority. Not quite as high as the Mishnah, but the Tosefta is next up. But then there's Brises, which are like kind of random collections of Tanaitic things, statements, I guess, that didn't make it into the Mishnayos, didn't make it into the Toseftas. And if we don't have anything else and we have a Brisa, so yeah, it's valid, right? We can ask a kasha from a Brisa, of course. But if we have to choose between the text of a Mishnah versus a Brisa, it's a no-brainer. The Mishnah is more authoritative. So we're saying Rav says that the halacha is like Reb Meir. Why would Rav paskin like Reb Meir over the rabbis? Well, because we have a brisa in which actually what Reb Meir's opinion in this Mishnah is actually it's the opinion of the Chachamim if you look at the brisa. But still, why would Rav favor the girsa of a brisa over that of a Mishnah? Got it? Good. Rav Masnisin Nami Ipcha Tani. Well, Rav also just flips around the Mishnah, so that actually when Rav learns our Mishnah, he says that that is the opinion of the rabbis, not that of Reb Meir. But again, in a similar vein, why would Rav? What it sounds like is Rav is betzim saying, well, we have a brisa which says that the opinion of the rabbis is so since we have a brisa like that, let's go back to our Mishnah, flip around the opinions, and say that in our Mishnah oichit, it's the rabbis who are saying bavadim omer lo reishach lefanecha. Adrabo, it should be punkt fakert. Nepuch lebraisa mikame masnisin ho. What we should be doing logically is flipping around the brisa to match the girsa of the Mishnah, not fakert. Ame Rav Nami Masnisen Ipcha Asne. So the Gemara says, no, it's not just that Rav flipped around the opinions in our Mishnah. Rav actually learns our Mishnah as far as Rav is concerned, the text of our Mishnah should be the opposite. When Rav learns our Mishnah, he actually learns our Mishnah to be consistent with the Brisa, which is that the actual opinion of the rabbis is Bavad Omer Lo Areshach Lefanecha, and it's the opinion of Reb Meir who says that both by Behema and by Avodim, it's Mishalim Kishas Hagzela. I'm going to drink more coffee. Viba Yisema. Alternatively, 1 second, I'm going to scratch my, I don't know, I got to fix my glasses, rub my eyes. Viba Yisema, ki loy apich, chad mikame chada, chad mikame tarte apich. Ho 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 ho. Alternatively, maybe it's like, let's reset. Let's reset. If we start over, we have a Mishnah. In our Mishnah, it's Reb Meir's opinion, who says, "Bavadim omim l'arishach lefanecha." It's Reb Meir's opinion. However, we have a brisa in which we're saying that it's the rabbi's opinion. So now, the things we would say, but still, the Mishnah is more authoritative than the brisa. But actually, there's two brisas in which, we have two brises where we're learning that it's the opinion of the rabbis who say, Ba'avodim omul areshach lefanecha be'etzim. So therefore, look, if we have a Mishnah versus a brisa, sure, a Mishnah is more authoritative. But one Mishnah against two brises, the two brises are actually going to end up being more authoritative than the one Mishnah. And that's the case over here. So why is Rav passing like Reb Meir? He's passing like Reb Meir because we actually have two brises in which it's actually the opposite, that it's the Rabbanan, it's the Chacham who are saying be'etzem that v'havadim omelo hari shelcha l'fanecha. So again, Sviba is saying alternatively, kilo apich chad mikam echada. When you wouldn't flip around a Mishnah to reflect a brisa is when you have 1-to-1. Chad mikam etaite apich. But if you have one Mishnah against two brises, so the Mishnah is going to lose. Titania, that the second brisa is hamachlif pore bechamor v'yalda v'chen amoche shivchaso v'yalda zeomer b'shusa yalda v'halo shosek zocha ba zomer eni yodea v'zomer eni yodea yachloku zomer b'shusa yishava amoche sheb'shusa yalda v'shet kol hanishbayin shebetor nishbayin v'lo misham d'ver meir v'chacham omen nishbayin lo ala avodim v'lo ala karkos. Wow. More coffee. Okay, two scenarios. Who can tell me what the first scenario is? It's a scenario that we've seen in the past. We've seen it before. Hamachlif pari b'shor. Hamachlif pari b'chomer. Is that what it was? Yeah. Who can tell me what hamachlif pari b'chomer is? Ruvain has a pari. Ruvain has a cow. Apparently this cow is pregnant. Ruvain has a cow. Shimon has a donkey. Sorry, rub my eyes again. Reuven has a cow, Shimon has a donkey, and they make a deal. The deal is, Shimon gets the cow, Reuven gets the donkey. They switch. And how are they going to affect this kinyan? They're going to affect this kinyan in the following way. Reuven goes to Shimon's house. He goes over to Shimon's chomer, his donkey. He gives it a pull, the kinyan meshicha. And then it's a kinyan chalifin be'etzim. When Reuven does a kinyan meshicha on Shimon with Shimon's donkey, so now Reuven owns the donkey now, and memele, when that happens, Reuven's cow now belongs to Shimon. By Reuven getting the donkey, Shimon now gets the cow. They do a switch. And the switch happens punkt when Reuven gets the donkey. When Reuven gets the donkey, Shimon at that point now owns the cow. Kinyan Chalifin. Now, it turns out that the cow gave birth. And now the shaila is, wait, when did it give birth? Did it give birth before Reuven pulled Shimon's cow? No, before Reuven pulled Shimon's donkey? In which case it's Reuven's baby? Or did the cow give birth after Reuven pulled Shimon's donkey, in which case at that point, it was already Shimon's cow, so it's Shimon's baby. The same thing with a shifcha. Right? By a shifcha, if Reuven owns a shifcha, and they're going to make a deal, Shimon's going to buy Reuven's shifcha. So Reuven goes to Shimon's house, they're ironing out the deal. Shimon then pays Reuven for the shifcha. At that point, right, an eved is nicknamed Bekesef Shtar V'chazaka, I think. So when Shimon pays Reuven, the shifcha now belongs to Shimon. Turns out that the shifcha had a baby. So again, the shaila is, was the baby born before the acquisition or after? Does the baby belong to Reuven or does the baby belong to Shimon? Okay. So again, so the Tanya we learned in the Brisa, hamachlip pari b'chomer, that if they're doing a kinyan chalifin with a cow and a donkey, v'yalda, and the cow gives birth, v'chein amoche shivchaso v'yalda. Alternatively, if Reuven is selling a shivcha to Shimon, and then she gave birth, and we don't know, was it before or after the sale? Zeomer b'shusa yalda v'hala shosek. So if Shimon says, look, she gave birth when I already owned her. So Zachaba, okay, if Reuven keeps quiet, so Shimon gets the baby. Zeomer eni odea v'zeomer eni odea. If both of them say, look, I have no way of knowing when the baby was born. I don't know, both of them say, I don't know if it's mine or if it's yours. So yachloku. So they split the value of the baby. Zeomer b'shusi. Now what if they both claim fakir? Both of them claim it's mine. Reuven says it's my baby. She gave birth before the sale. Shimon says, it's my baby. She gave birth after the sale. So then, Yishava Amocher, so the seller, Ruvain, because it's Ruvain's the one who has the shifcha right now, and the baby, right? Ruvain sold the shifcha to Shimon. So Ruvain needs to deliver his shifcha now to Shimon, as well as the baby. But so the shifcha and the baby are in Ruvain's. What the heck? 1 second. Wow, it's the power washers. They blasted through the noise canceling headphones. Wow, I did not know what was happening. Mom, it's like a power wash. Get washed away. Wow. I almost got washed away. Well, I'm glad for my noise canceling headphones. They basically canceled out the power wash. Now that I've identified it, and I realize that I'm not under imminent threat to my life. It's just the power washers. I can go weiter. Where were we? Power washers. No, not power washers. Shifcha and Kinyan Khalifin. Oh, gewaldig. So power washers. No, Kinyan Khalifin. Right. Kinyan Khalifin. Power washers. Kinyan Khalifin. Gewaldig. Wow, power washers. See what they did? Power washers. We gotta get rid of them. Okay. You see what they did? You see? Yankee the Tsar. Okay. No, so normally, says Rameir, that normally by a shvua, the way it would work is that a person who's in possession of something would swear that he should retain the possession of it and that he should not have to lose possession of it, as opposed to what the opposite would be. So for example, I don't know, if let's say Shimon lent Ruvain $1,000 for whatever reason, without going into details, Ruvain would be the one to swear that he doesn't owe Shimon $1,000 and that he doesn't have to pay. It would not be that Shimon swears that Ruvain owes him $1,000 and then collects it. That would not, right? You wouldn't swear and then collect. You would swear and then say, leave me alone. Okay? So therefore, in this case, where both Ruvain and Shimon are arguing that the baby belongs to them, so who's the one to swear? Ruvain, the original owner of the shifcha, who now is in possession of the shifcha and the baby, he swears that the baby was born before the sale and that the baby is his. Leave me alone, according to Rameir. Right, so again, so Ruvain swears that the birth happened while he still owned the shifcha. Because whenever we have a scenario of a shvua in the Torah, the way that it works is that the party who's in possession swears that they're telling the truth and that they, leave me alone, I'm not paying you anything. Divrei Meir, that's Meir's opinion. The Chacham say, Einish boyin lo al avodim velo al hakarkos, whereas the Chachamim say that we do not have a shvua not for avodim or karkos. So we see that according to the Chachamim, we're treating avodim like karkos. According to the Chachamim, we're treating avodim like karkos. And as we said yesterday or the day before, I can't remember anymore. Karka, I think the day before maybe, Karka ain't an exelis, and therefore Karka can't be stolen, and Evid can't be stolen, therefore Arishalcha lefanecha. So we see that, so that's the opinion of the Chachamim who are saying Arishalcha lefanecha. So we see that both according to the Braise, according to two Brises, it's the opinion of the rabbis who are saying Ba'avodim Omil Arishalcha lefanecha. And therefore, that is why Rav says in our Mishnah that we pass like Reb Meir, because actually what our Mishnah alleges is Reb Meir's opinion, which is Ba'avodim Omlo Arishalcha lefanecha, is actually, as we proved from two separate prices, is not the opinion of Reb Meir, it's the opinion of the rabbis. Fekti Gemara, Hayalacha Reb Meir, Halacha Rabbanan mi baile. But if what we're saying is correct, then why is Rav saying the halacha is like Reb Meir? Really, Rav should be saying that halacha is like the Rabbanon, because apparently Reb Meir's opinion of Bavadim Omer L'Arishach Lefanecha is actually not the opinion of Reb Meir, it's the opinion of the rabbis. So why doesn't Rav say that halacha is like the Rabbanon? Where am I? So halacha Reb Meir, halacha Rabbanon mibar lehachi ka'amar. This is what Rav is saying. Lemai de'afchisu v'tanisu. Well, regarding that which you get it backwards, and we have a backwards mission over here, which says that it's Reb Meir's opinion. It says Bavadim Omer L'Arishach Lefanecha halacha Reb Meir. Well, if that's the case, according to the backwards people, then the halacha is like Reb Meir, as we've proven from the two other brises that it's actually the opinion of the rabbis, and we pass like the rabbis. Okay, where am I? Should I pause here? Chaver, it took us 20 minutes just to get to today's daf. Alright. I don't think the rest of the daf is super hard, but I guess we'll find out. Ubi Amar Rav, Avda Kimikarkoi Domi, ho ho. Does Rav really say that Avodim are like Karke? Ve'Amar Rav Daniel, Barav Katina Amar Rav, Atokev be'avdo shel Chaveiro. Also, what time is it? 7:30? I think I'm alright, yeah. Just gotta make sure I'm not gonna run up against Sofas Man Kriya Shema. I think I haven't said Kriya Shema yet, but I think, I don't think I'm gonna run out of time. Should be fine. If I run out of time, Chaver, you're in big trouble. Because that means I think it's gonna be another hour, but I don't think it's gonna be another hour. Fine, Omer Rav, Atoke ba'avdo shel Chaver v'asa bo melacha. This is Givaldik. Very Givaldik. This is very, very Givaldik. Reb Neil, I think you were a big fan of the sugya of Zenene v'zelo chaser. This is be'etzem the sugya. Is be'etzem the sugya. Hatoke ba'avdo shel chavero, that a fellow who grabs his friend's eved v'asa bo melacha, and he does work with his friend's eved potter, so he doesn't need to. So he's potter. He doesn't have to pay his friend. V'sakadaitech avdikim karkoi domi. And if it enters your mind to say, right, this is Rav's opinion. And if it enters your mind to say that Rav's opinion is that avodim are like karke, well then this eved belongs to the owner of the eved. Amai potter. Why should we should really use like Reuven and Shimon. So it's Reuven's eved. Shimon takes Reuven's eved to do work with. If we say that eved is like karka, why is Shimon potter? B'shusa Tamari koi. The eved is in Reuven's rishus. Shimon's using Reuven's eved. He should be chayiv to pay him. So achav mayaskinon shelo b'shas melacha. Well, we're talking about outside of normal work hours. Outside of normal work hours, when the eved is usually sitting around. So therefore, it's be'etzim zenenev zelo chaser. That Shimon's getting benefit from Reuven's eved, and Reuven doesn't lose out anything because the eved wasn't working then anyways. Ki ad shalach le Reb Abba the Mari Bar Mar. It's like Reb Abba sent to Mari Bar Mar earlier on Daf Chaf Aleph. But be'imine merevuna asked Revuna adar b'chotzor chaver shlomidaito, that if a fellow lives in somebody else's house without that person knowing, I mean he's just benefiting from that guy's house that's already there. So does the squatter need to pay? So v'shalchule, they sent back, he doesn't have to pay because zenene v'zelo chaser. So just like the person who benefits from the other person's house, when the other person isn't there and he's not planning to rent it out or anything, so he's part of him paying because zenene v'zelo chaser. Right, this one gets benefit and the other one doesn't lose out. So here, oichet by the eved, Shimon is using Reuven's eved when Reuven's eved isn't working for Reuven anyways. So zenenev zelo chaser. Perfect the Gemara. Awesome. I understand by the apartment. There's the opinion who says, look, that it's better for a house to have people living in it, so that if things go wrong, they'll be fixed. Right? If it's just an abandoned house, kind of falls apart. So therefore, I understand it's taka beneficial for somebody to be in there. That the pasuk says that the demon of She'iyah will get involved with like an abandoned house, and you don't want demons. So it also makes sense. Meaning, I understand why it could be okay for somebody to kind of squat in a house, because etzem the fact that there's a person in the house, take make sure that things, they make sure the place stays clean, and if there's any issues, they take care of it, things like that. But over here, why is it in Ruvain's benefit in any way that Shimon is using his Eved? His Eved's going to get weaker from overworking. So, the more work the Eved does, the kind of, he kind of gets worn out. So why is that beneficial to Ruvain, even if it's during the Eved's off, leisure time? No, you know why it's in the interest of Ruvain? Because it's not good that Ruvain's Eved should get lazy. If he's just sitting around during the siesta, so then he's going to get lazy. So therefore, it's taka okay if Shimon takes the Eved during the leisure time and says, Eved, don't get lazy, come, do work for me. Coffee. Let's go weiter. Rub my nose. Sorry, Mom. Let's go weiter. Bei Rav Yosef bar Choma papararara, that by the household of Rav Yosef bar Choma. Rav Yosef bar Choma was Rav's father. Rav bar Yosef. Habu tokif avdi de inche demasik buzuze v'avdi b'melacha. What they would do over there is that if there were people who owed them money, they would use their avodim for work. Right? You owe me money. I'm taking your eved and we're going to do work. Omelei Rave Brei, it says Rave, switch to Rave. It says Rave to his father. My time Ovid Marachi, how come you doing this? Omelei. So his father says, the Omer of Nachman. Avdanum Kreise Lo Shavi. That Rav Nachman says that in Eved, the work that he does doesn't even pay for his own, food and upkeep. So therefore, better that I should be using his Eved and feeding his Eved, and that way he doesn't have to, right? Meaning Rav Nachman says that in the work that an Eved does isn't even enough to cover his like room and board. So, Be'etzim, the owner of the Eved is losing money on having the Eved. But if I'm working the Eved and I'm paying for his food while he's working for me, so that's beneficial for the owner of the Eved. So again, my time of Marochi, Amarle, Domer of Nachman, because of Nachman says, Avdinom Kreise Lo Shavi. An Eved doesn't even pay for his own, right? His work isn't even worth the food that is spent on him, right, to feed him. And therefore, by me using the Eved and I'm paying for his food during that time, it's beneficial to the Adam. Omar Lei, to which Ravi responds to his father, Amar the Amr of Nachman. Should I sneeze? Alright, I'll sneeze 1 second. I feel like I could have gone either way on that sneeze. Okay, the Shavi Omar, where am I? So Omar Rav says to his father, Amar the Omar Rav Nachman, Kigon Daru Avde. Look, I'll say that when Rav Nachman says that an Eved doesn't even cover his own meals, that's like his Eved Daru. Daru was a clown. Demarked Bey Kove. That he was a clown, he was a jester, he wasn't exactly, didn't have a very good work ethic. But Kulu Avde, Ma'abed Avde. But in general, Avodim do good work, and they do provide enough value that it would cover their upkeep, and therefore there's no reason why you should be taking them. Omale. So Rav Yosef bar Choma says to his son Ravi, Anuk Rav Daniel severely. Well, I hold like Rav Daniel, the Omar who says, the Omar Rav Daniel by Rav Katina Amarav Atokev ba'avdu shel chavero, a fellow who chaps his fellow's eved b'asu b'malacha potter, and he does malacha, he's take potter alma nichale to the listrei avde, because it's beneficial to the adon that his eved shouldn't be getting lazy. And therefore, okay, so these people owe me money. We're going to take their eved during the off hours, so that at least they're not getting lazy. Omarle, Ravi responds, but that's only acceptable. If Shimon takes Reuven's eved and Reuven doesn't owe Shimon any money. But in your case, Papa, Kevin the Masik Be'uzuze, since they owe you money, Merze kiribis, it looks like ribis. It looks like ribis. It looks like ribis. Meaning, if you know, you're only going to people who owe you money. So these people owe you money, and in addition to the money that you're owed, you're then using their avodim. So that's like extra payment kind of thing. So it's like ribis. It's like interest. The Rav Yosef by Manyomi Amar Rav Nachman Afal Pisha Amar Adar Bachatzer Chaver Shlo Midaito and Tzarich Lalos Lo Socher. Even though they said that somebody who lives in somebody else's chotzer without his knowledge does not need to pay for it, because zenen avzelo chotzer. Halveyu v'dar b'chotzer chaveru. But if somebody lends money to somebody else and then lives in their chotzer rent free, tzarich lalos lo socher, you would have to pay rent, because it could look like interest. Omlei hadri bi, to which Rav's father says, okay, I will stop doing that. I will stop using the avodim of people who owe me money. Itmar was stated at Tokev Sfinoso Shel Chavero Vaso Bamiloche, a fellow who chaps his fellow's boat and does melacha with it. Okay, Shimon just takes Ruvain's boat and goes out to sea. Omer Rav says, Rav Rotze Schora Notel, Rotze Pochasa Notel. So Rav says Ruvain, who owns the boat, can get paid either the amount of money that, if somebody wants to rent out a boat for for that time, how much would it cost? So if Rav wants to collect sort of a rental fee, or if any damage that was done to the boat, to kind of pay for the damages, and he could accept whichever one is higher. Where Shmuel says no, only you would only get payment for damages, but not for the rental. Papa lo pliga, and says Papa, both Rav and Shmuel are not actually arguing. Hada avida la'agra, it depends if the boat is generally rented out. If the boat is generally rented out, so then Ruvain, the owner of the boat, can request either for damage payments or for rental payments, whichever one is higher. And if it is not normally rented out, then he can't request a rental payment. He can only request payment for whatever damage, for any damages. Alternatively, no, you could say everyone's talking about a boat that is normally rented out, but it depends the intention of Shimon when he went on the boat. If he went on the boat to rent it out, so then Ruvain can request either the rental fee or the damages fee. Whereas if he went on the boat with the intention of stealing it, well then he's treated as a thief, which would be just the damage fees, but not the rental fees. I'm going to chop a shtickle coffee and then we'll go weiter. Gazo matbeh v'nizdak v'chulei. Ooh, wow. Okay. Our Mishnah said that if you steal a coin and it got cracked, it broke. So you don't say Arei Shelcha Lefanecha, you don't say just take it back. Rather, Mishalim Kshas Hagzel, you have to pay the value of the coin that was stolen. So Rav Huna says, Rav Huna nizdak mamish, that when it says that it broke, it mamish broke. Nifsal, the Mishnah had said that if the coin becomes pasul, pasalto malchus is talking about the government decided that the coin is now useless, right? Right? That a silver dollar, he stole a silver dollar, and then the government decided that dollars are no longer usable. And the Mishnah had said that in that case, where it's nifsal, he says Arei Shelcha Lefanecha, that the Gazan just gives it back. Rav Yehuda Amar says, Rav Yehuda pasalto malchus nami anu nistak. Whereas Rav Yehuda says, no, if the government says that the coin is worthless now, well then that's be'etzem the same thing as the coin being broken. You can't say Arei Shelcha Lefanecha, just take it back. Rather, you have to pay Kishas HaGezela. So what's the situation of it becoming invalidated where we say Arei Shelcha Lefanecha? Shepasalto medina zo v'yotza b'medina acheres. where the coin is no longer acceptable in this location, but you can travel to some other place and that coin is still acceptable there. So in that case we say, Hare shelcha lefanecha, take it back. Amle Rav Chizde le Rav Huna. So now Rav Chizde says to Rav Huna, Ledidach, according to Rav Huna, the Amar, that you said, Nifsal, pasalto malchus, that in the situation where you have a coin and the government decides that the coin is no longer valid, so we say, Hare shelcha lefanecha, take it back. Hare peiros v'irkivu, what about the Mishnah when it says that if you have fruits that got rotten, yain v'hechmitz, so you have wine that became vinegar, Dichi pasalto malchus dami, that it's just like, right, it's completely unusable, just like this coin. V'katani mishalim k'shas hagazela, right, the Mishnah says that if you have wine, the wine gets spoiled, it becomes vinegar. Becomes vinegar. So the Mishnah says, Mishalim kishas hagazela. You have to pay back like at the time of the theft. Yet, oh man. Wow, Wow, what the heck was that? Wow, my throat just got super dry. Wow, my throat like suddenly got super dry. Whoa. That was awesome. Let's go weiter. So the Mishnah had said that by if you have wine that becomes vinegar, mishalim k'shas hagzela, and yet, right, so it's unusable, the wine's undrinkable. Mishalim k'shas hagzela, and yet you have this coin which is unusable, and we're saying Hare shelcha lefanecha. So Amalei, so Rav Huna responds, Hasam nishtana taimo v'reicho. By the wine, its flavor and its smell, I guess it's like physical profile, changed. And therefore, mishalim k'shas hagzela. Hacha, but over here by the coin, nothing changed at all. Lo nishtana, literally nothing changed. The government made an announcement, the coins are no longer usable, it's now worthless. Sorry, but nothing actually happened to the coin. Only a proclamation. Something intangible happened. So in that case, you could say, Hare shelcha lefanecha. But by the wine that becomes vinegar, we'd say, Mishalim k'shas hagzela. Omelei Rava l'Revuda, Rava says to Revuda, Ledidach, according to you, the Omar pasalto malchus nami ainu nizdak, according to Rav Yehuda, who says that if he argues with Rav Yehuda, Rav Yehuda argues with Rav Huna, and he says that if the government decides that a coin is completely useless, it's completely worthless, that's betzim the same thing as if it got cracked, and we would say mishalim k'shas hagzela. So are truma v'nitmeis, but what about if you have truma that becomes tameh? Dichi pasalto malchus dami, that it's basically like the same thing as a coin that's unusable, because truma tameh nobody can eat. V'katani omer la reishecha lefanecha, and by truma tameh we say here take it back, but we're saying that by a coin that's useless we say mishalim k'shas hagzela. So Amalei, so Rav Yehuda responds, Hasam, by the truma lo minker hezeka, hacha minker hezeka. By the truma, if you have wheat and it becomes tameya, there is tamei wheat looks exactly like tahor wheat. There is absolutely no distinction whatsoever between tamei and tahor wheat. Again, it's something that's intangible. Whereas, right, and therefore there we say Hare shelcha lefanecha. Whereas a coin that becomes useless, actually, nothing happened to the coin, but meaning these coins are useless, but other coins are useful. And sort of what emerges is that there is a difference between the useless and the useful coins, because they're different coins, right? Right. The government decides dollars are no longer useful, they're useless, they're worthless. Babel coins are now the currency. So you could tell, that's $1, that's a Babel coin. And therefore, so there is you can tell the difference. And therefore, by the useless coins, you would say Mishalim k'shas hagzela, whereas by the Truma Tahora and Truma Tmeya, or really the Truma Tmeya, you would say Harei Shelcha Lifanecha. Wow, this is ending up being a longer daf than I anticipated. We're like 40 minutes in and we're not even on Amud Beis yet. Again, I feel like it's still not going to be that much longer, but I don't know, this whole daf has just been like taking longer than I expected. But it's BavaKama, it's the big leagues. Meaning I just like all, it's just, I guess it just seems like all of these dafs are just like kind of long. Like that's just the way it is. Itmar, I think in another like 2 days it's going to be super long. I think that Tzadi Tes is going to be a big old daf. But then Kuf is not. So these are all like funny kind of things. Yeah. Okay, let's go back to so Itmar. Hamalves chaver al matbeya v'nifsal hamatbeya. Okay? So Shimon gives Reuven a bunch of wheat. And he says, Reuven, look, I gave you $1 worth of wheat. Pay me back $1. So you're going to pay me back $1. Okay, so here's, I guess he gives it to him on credit. Here's a bunch of wheat. Go do business with it. It costs $1. You'll pay me back $1. And then it turns out that dollars become, the government decided dollars are out. Babel coin is in. So Itmar Amalves Chaver al Matbeya. Shimon lends a bunch of merchandise to, gives a bunch of merchandise to Shimon gives a bunch of merchandise to Reuven to do business, and he says, "Look, it costs $1. V'nifsal matbeya." It turns out that dollars are now valueless, worthless. Rav Omar nosein lo matbeya hayotze ba'osa shua. So Rav says, okay, so when it comes time for Shimon to get paid back, Reuven cannot pay him back with worthless dollars. He pays him back with very valuable Babel coin. Ushmuel Omar, and Shmuel says, Yochol Omar lo leich hotzio b'meishin. Whereas Shmuel says, where Shmuel says that Reuven can tell Shimon, look, you told me, right, we kind of the arrangement we had was you were going to give me this stuff and I was going to give you $1. That's it, I'm giving you $1. And if you can't spend it here and you have to go to Meishin to spend it, go to Meishin to spend it, but sort of, I'm sticking to the arrangement. Here's $1. Omer Rav Nachman says, what did I just do? Sorry, I think I just hit the microphone. Sorry about that. So now Omer Rav Nachman, says Rav Nachman, Mistavre Milsei de Shmuel de Isli Orchel Amezel Lemeshin. So says Rav Nachman, look, I can understand Shmuel's opinion. That Reuven could say to Shimon, look, here's $1, go to Meishin and spend it. If Shimon has business in Meishin, and he's going to Meishin, Aval Leislei Orcha, but if he has no business in Meishin Lo, then Reuven can't just be like, here's $1, I think they still accept dollars in Timbuktu, good luck. No, it doesn't work like that. He's if he's going to Meishin, so he could say, look, here's $1, I know you're going to Meishin, spend it in Meishin, and let's stick to the arrangement. Eizvei Raveli Rav Nachman, Rave Asakasha Rav Nachman, Ein Mechalalin ala Ma'os she'enam Yotzos. You can't be Mechalel Meiser Sheni. So if you have Meiser Sheni and you want to transfer its value onto money and bring that money to Yerushalayim, so the money that you transfer it on, so Ein Mechalel ala Ma'os she'enam Yotzos. You cannot transfer Meiser Sheni Kedusha onto money that is not usable. Ketzad, tell me more. Hayulo Ma'os Kuzvios Yerushalmios. What's that? So Rashi says, at least in his first opinion, where's Rashi? Matbeya shel ben Kuziva. You hear that? Who's Ben Kuziva? Bar Kochva. So Bar Kochva, he had money, and so the Bar Kochva mint, Yerushalmios, Jerusalem Bar Kochva mints, Oshel Malachim Arishonim, or from the earlier kings, Ein Mechalin. You cannot use that money because that money is completely unusable. Hashalachronim dumi derishonim mechalim. But the money of like later kings that are similar to Yerushalayim, to the earlier kings, in that they can't be used here, but they can be used elsewhere. So mechalalin. So then you can transfer it onto that. So this money that's usable in like some other place, you can transfer the Kedushas Meiser Sheni onto this money, even though you have no business going to that place, and even though Meiser Sheni needs to be spent, Meiser Sheni money needs to be spent in one specific place, which is Yerushalayim, and you're not planning to go to any other place, still you can be Mechalel, the Kedusha of the Meiser Sheni, onto these coins. So it seems that whether or not you're planning to go to this other place is irrelevant, so long as the coin is usable in some other place. You could transfer the Kedusha of Meiser Sheni. And so it sounds like when we say that a coin that's usable in some place is usable, that would be even if you're not planning to go there, unlike Rav Nachman was saying. Where am I? So Amar Lei, so Rav Nachman responds, Hocha b'mayoskinon kshe'ein malchis makpidos zo al zo. Well, when we say that the Kedushas Meiser Sheni can be transferred onto this money that's usable in some other place, that so long as there's good relations between those two countries, and you could spend money of one in the other and it's no big deal. So then, the Gemara Eliki Omar Shmuel. So then, does that mean that when Shmuel says that Davka, you have to be going to Meshin, Kishamalchis Makpida Zo Azo? That's talking about because from I don't know where we are, and in Meshin they have bad relations. But Heichimotzi Mamti Luhu. Well, then how can you be taking that money and spending it in Meshin if you can get in big trouble and it won't be acceptable in Meshin? Well, it's talking about a scenario where, if you need to, you can use it. They're not going to search for it. But if they find it, then they will confiscate it. That's what we're talking about. Okay. Tashma, come in here. In Mechalin al Ma'os Shelkan Vein Bebavel, you cannot be mechalo Meiser Sheni onto Jerusalem money if this is happening in Bavel. So if you're in Bavel, I don't know why you'd have Meiser Sheni in Bavel, but if you're in Bavel and I guess you have Meiser Sheni that you want to be mechalo onto money, so then you can't be transfer that, right? Isn't that what Rashi says? Ein mechal meiser sheni amin Rashi al ma'os shalkan Yerushalayim ve'ama'os ve'abaylim bebavel. And the owner and the money is currently in Bavel, but it's like Jerusalem money. Okay, v'shal Bavel ve'hein kan, and you can't use Babylonian money if you're here in Israel. Shall Bavel vein bevavel mechalin. But if it's Bavel money and you're in Bavel, so then you can be mechal. Katani mias ein mechalin amos shall kan vein bebavel. But we're saying, so what we just said, that if you're in Bavel, you can't be mechal Meiser Sheni. But maybe it's not talking about Meiser Sheni. Is it maybe talking about Hektish? Wait 1 second. Maybe it could be talking about a scenario where you have a guy from Eretz Yisrael. He lives in Eretz Yisrael. He's got Meiser Sheni fruit in Eretz Yisrael, but he's currently in Bavel and he's got Eretz Yisrael money. So he's now in Bavel someplace and he says, I'm going to be mechalel my Meiser Sheni onto money. And he says, he takes out his wallet and he's got Israeli shekels and he's in Bavel with Israeli shekels and he's saying, my Meiser Sheni, which is in my home and wherever I live in Eretz Yisrael, is now going to be mechalel onto this Eretz Yisrael money. He can't do that. Maybe that's the point. So now, where am I? So you can't be mechal on Eretz Yisrael money if the money and the owner is currently in Bavel. Even though, of course, he's going to be traveling to Yerushalayim, so he's going. He has business in Yerushalayim where the money is worth, is valuable. and still he can't do it. Well, it's talking about a scenario where Bavel and Eretz Yisrael are not on good terms, and therefore, he doesn't want to be caught. He can't be caught kind of traveling with this money. If that's the case, well, then why is it acceptable for him to be mechalel onto Babylonian money? Well, because he could use the Babylonian money to purchase an animal in Bavel, umasik Yerushalayim, and then he could take it to Yerushalayim. He could then take the animal to Yerushalayim. Now we had said that you cannot be mechal meiser sheni onto Babylonian coins if you're in Eretz Yisrael. So now ve'atanya eskinu shihu hamos yotzos b'Yerushalayim mipnei kach. But we have a brayso that says that they would allow all currencies to be spent in Yerushalayim. So mebzer lo kasha kam bezman sheyad Yisrael t'kifal umus ha'olam kam bezman sheyad umus ha'olam t'kifal atzman. So it depends. When the Yidden were like strong and making and sovereign and making their own decisions, so then they could say, yeah, we accept any coins. But when sort of they were not in control of their own decisions and stuff, and other people making decisions, those other people decided that the Babylonian coins were not acceptable. Tana Rabbanan. The Rabbi said, "Ezu matbeel sheYerushalayim." What is a Jerusalem coin? David Shlomo mitzad echad. David and Solomon on one side of the coin, Yerushalayim Yirakodesh mitzad acher, and the holy city of Jerusalem on the other coin, on the other side of the coin. Be'ezu matbeel shel Avram Avinu. What's the coin of Abraham, our father? Zokin v'zkenim mitzad echad. The Zokin and Zakina, Avram and Sarah on one side, Uvachur v'Sulam mitzad acher, and Yitzchak and Rivka on the other side. Friends, that was Daf Tzadi Zayin of Masechta BavaKama. I hope you enjoyed. Peace out.